Welcome to Answers from Within. From the author of the All-Knowing Diary, Mind Lies into Truths that will set you free.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Answers from Within. I am Daniel. We are talking truth, enlightenment, and in this instance, the power of creativity and how to unleash it. So I have been given another question by a lovely Nura, who is talking about having her creativity squashed as a child, as her mum often criticized every time she was drawing. And even though she promised herself she wouldn't let her mother's criticism dampen her spirits, I think that has happened anyway. And that's what Nura's question is all about. How do I reconnect to my creativity, open it up, unlock its true potential? So we're going to have a look at that for you, Nura, and for everyone else who's wondering how to reopen and unleash their infinite creativity. Okay, so Nura, the very first thing that I'm seeing is if I express myself, if I express my creativity, I will be criticized. Now that is something that you are conscious of, but let's have a look at what's really lying beneath that and why that's become such a blockage. First thing that I'm seeing is I don't want to think of myself as a bad drawer or a bad artist or bad illustrator. And the reason you don't want to think of yourself in that way is because what it translates into is that my mother is disappointed in me. I'm not good enough for my mother. I'm not good enough for what she wants, for what she's asking for. And I feel stuck in this pattern of wanting to give and provide for her. And the last thing I want to feel is that I'm inept. I'm incompetent at doing that. I'm unable to do that for my mother. And the word incompetent just keeps showing up. Am I really incompetent? Did my mother birth somebody who's faulty, incompetent? Because that's how she nearly looks at me when she glances over and sees what I'm doing with this kind of weird one eyebrow up and a little bit questioning, and there's almost like this cynicism within just one simple glance. So it's all about I don't want to feel inept. And there's this undercurrent of my mother expects me and I expected me to provide for my mother in some way. It's not quite to help out. There's a different energy to it. It's not even pull your own weight. It's help your mother feel like she hasn't made a mistake. You know, so, and it's often can be, you know, confused with, oh no, my mother expects me to pull my own weight around here and do my bit. But it's not that. And that's what's really interesting about this. This is a very subtle energy of, I need to keep reassuring my mother that she doesn't need to regret having me. Ever having me at all. And that's where this creativity block is really deeply rooted in. Interestingly, of course, that, you know, the epitome of her creativity is giving birth to you, and now you're holding back. You're saying, I don't want to express my creativity because I might regret it just like she is, having had me. Now, you don't want to experience that regret that I'm dismal at this, I'm no good at drawing, I'm no good at being creative or artistic. You don't want to experience that because it has you feel, I'm a regret. I don't want to regret it because I don't want to be faced with this horrible realization that I myself am a regret. So that's what's deep underneath there. So let's see what we can do to shift that for you, Nura. Well, the truth is, and it's already come up, is the feelings of regret, making mistakes, not being artistic, not being creative. That's really your mother's sensations that you have been endowed with. You're reliving her experience. So that's right away. The good news is it's not actually that there's something intrinsically wrong with you, that you missed a brain cell that's geared towards creativity or executing creativity. It's nothing like that. All these feelings are your mother's way of, can I look after my child? So there was this energy of worry and will I turn out to regret this? That was definitely there, but not in the way that you took it on board. So what was really going on there is your mother's like, can I deliver on what I'm seeking here, what I'm supposed to deliver upon? Can I birth this? Can I birth a healthy child? That was showing me that was first and foremost your mother's biggest concern. Am I going to birth a defective, deformed child that's going to be live a second-rate life, cause me problems, have me feel that I'm inept, have me feel that I'm incompetent as a mother? So it's very interesting. All these feelings you're having in terms of birthing artistic creations are literally what was going on for your mother as she was birthing you, pregnant with you. Am I going to create something faulty, something flawed? Because if I do, then that's a mirror right in my face. Now remember, there's nothing to do with you. This is not about you, Nura. This is what your mother's dealing with, bringing a life into this world. So if you're in that position, she's like, I'm going to have to face the fact that I'm incompetent. I'm an inept human being. I'm an incompetent human being. And what if I can't even birth another human being? That means I'm completely faulty and damaged. So this is all the stuff that your mother had going on. And this is what happens. The energies that our parents have predominantly as we're being brought into this world, we take on those energies. So it's very important for all those new mothers listening that, during your pregnancies and your birth, that you're holding a very high space of love, self-love, and love for your child, and it's this unwavering belief of competence and knowing you are great. So unfortunately, Nura, for you and for me and many others, our mothers didn't have that level of self-belief bringing us into the world. So we inherited much of that self-doubt and self-criticism and self-questioning. So when we look at the real truth going on here, let's see if we can dig deep into what was really going on there. Okay, so it's really interesting. So when you came out, your mother was shocked. Yeah, that's the energy. It was just, oh my goodness, I've given birth to somebody perfect. Nura, my beautiful daughter, is perfect. But what's weird is she immediately went into, well, then what's wrong with me? So she couldn't allow in that creating a perfect child means that she would have to be perfect herself. And that's how the universe works. To create something perfect, we have to already be in a perfect state ourselves. Well, she couldn't let that in. So from that point on, she was on the lookout for imperfections in you. And she's looking at, okay, any minute now I'm going to spot some deformation, some imperfection, some flaw that's been overlooked by the doctors, and it's going to be revealed that there is something fundamentally wrong with me, and this is all my fault. I gave birth to a defective child, which means I have been right all along. I'm the defective one. So that's been your mother's belief her whole life, that she's defective, deformed, and incompetent. And so because that's her belief, she's had her radar, her antenna up, as we do, looking for verification, justification, validation in every life situation. And of course, bringing a child into the world is the ultimate in the mirror, the validation. I'm either going to be validated as the failure that I believe I am, or I'm going to be shown that I'm actually more than what I've always thought I am. And your mother couldn't let it in. Quite frankly, she just couldn't be okay with, I've brought in a perfect child. So from day one, birthday, she's been looking for issues, problems. And that's where that glance, that energy you felt when she's looking at your drawing and she's looking at that, she's looking at, is my daughter as imperfect as I am? And wherever she saw you, and this is why you got so harshly criticized when you were younger, because any little indiscretion, let's say, was just a punch in your mother's face as far as she was concerned of, oh my God, there is something wrong. There is something wrong with me. If there's something wrong with her, there's something wrong with me. So she was just on these tender hooks in life going, I'm waiting to see where I'm a failure, a disappointment that I've always believed I am. So she was just on edge, completely on edge. At every little thing you did outside the lines was just a reminder of what a dismal failure she was. So the truth for you is she's not looking at your drawings, illustrations, behaviors. She's not even looking at you. She's looking at her. So when she's looking and she's scowling or she's being critical, it's not actually directed at you. And that's the sad thing for both of you guys, more so for your mother actually, because she couldn't see the perfection. That was robbing her from the perfection that you are and the beauty and it's kind of like the perfection in the imperfection. So even seeing the times where you made a funny drawing or somebody's head was too big or too small or their ears were in the wrong place or whatever it was, she couldn't look at that and laugh and go, oh God, isn't that cute? You know, the way we look at our kids' drawings and just go, that's so perfect. We don't look at our kids' drawings and go, oh, that's proportions are all wrong. Where's the golden ratio? And, you know, why have you neglected symmetry? We don't do that. We enjoy it for what they are, and she couldn't do that. So bring some deeper truth for you to realize every time she looked at you, she wasn't actually looking at you. Every time she looked at you, she was looking at herself. It's like you were literally that mirror that every time she looked over at you, she saw the reflection right back. She saw a mirror. She saw herself. And that's all she was ever looking for is, where am I, the failure that I've always believed I am? I'm looking for that evidence. And every time she criticized you, there's nothing to do with you. It was about her. It was like she wasn't being a good enough mother. If you drew differently or you behaved differently, it's because she didn't do a good enough job. So none of this is, as weird as this sounds, none of this is actually personal. And this is where I guess the sad truth is, she couldn't see you. You were overlooked. And in another way, that's also a good thing, because all her criticisms and all her resentment and all her anger and frustration actually had nothing to do with you whatsoever. Not at all. It's all about her. So looking at the healing truth, it is the following. You were never meant to come here and show your mother that you're not a regret. And you've been trying to do that ever since you were in the womb. I need to prove to her I'm not a regret, that I'm actually a great decision. I'm actually a win for her, and I'm actually a testament to how much better she is than what she thinks. That was never your job. You're never meant to do anything for your mother in that way. What you were there to do is to realize that none of us, no matter what the circumstances of our birth is, whether we're a so-called accident, a mistake, or whatever it is, purpose or not purpose, or loved or unloved, your purpose, your energy here, Nura, is to shine a light and say, it's all perfect. We are all perfect. The circumstances of our birth are irrelevant. We are here because we're meant to be here, and we are here for a reason. What was happening with the birth givers, the male and the female birth givers, really has nothing to do with the validity of why we are here and what we truly are. Because that is a constant. If you look at the essence, the spirit essence of what you are, the infinite essence, that is unchanging, unwavering, because of what our mum and dad were going through. It has their ups and downs, their purpose or no purpose, or accidents or whatever, or too much to drink or whatever it was that night, doesn't change what our spirit essence is. It's just got no bearing on it. So we are a constant. We come in through these bodies as a constant energy, this limitless creativity, infinite creativity, irrespective of what was going through mum and dad's minds at the time of conception and at the time of birth. It's completely irrelevant. We're determined, we're coming through. You guys are you've either got your shit together or you don't got your shit together. I'm coming through. You have an opportunity to embrace this experience and love it and learn from it and grow in leaps and bounds, or you have the opportunity to completely F it up. But either way, I'm a constant. I'm not my purpose or my strength, my validity, my essence is not in any way dependent on whether you've got your shit together or not. Whether I see my essence straight away has everything to do with whether you've got your shit together or not. Whether I can recognize my true self in the first 7 years of my life has everything to do with who you're being during conception, pregnancy, and birth. Everything. But putting that aside, I'm still me. I'm still my true self, irrespective. So the big truth is also for your mother that I'm sorry you missed out on seeing what an amazing being I am, because that had you miss out on seeing what an amazing being you are. But I'm not here to create for you. I'm not here to even bring you joy. I'm not here for you. I'm here for every other child that has been born in this world that is doubting themselves, doubting whether they're on purpose, whether they're meant to be. I'm here to shine the light to every parent, to let every parent know, embrace the perfection of your child, because they are perfect whether you intended them or not, whether you can cope with them or not. So you bring a huge message, Nura, this awakening of our divine perfection, irrespective of where mum and dad were at the time. So for you, dear Nura, is to have the realization of, I was perfect at conception, at pregnancy, at birth, and today. a perfect being that has stood the test of time, of infinity and beyond. And now I know I wasn't here to do anything for her. I wasn't here to do anything for anyone. My purpose is to be this shining light, this beacon that reminds everyone of their divine perfection. Because that is who I am. Divinely perfect. So just be you. Don't be here needing to do anything for anyone or to prove anything to anyone. There's nothing for you to prove to anyone. And there's nothing for you to do for anyone. Just be you. Be your loving self. So if you have a question that needs answering, come along to danielanswers.com